Hello and welcome to this lesson on making effective presentations. I am Susan Lee. Today, we will discuss some tips on creating effective presentation slides. How are slides effective and how are they not? As an audience member of presentations, what do you like about slides and what aspects of slides simply distract or confuse you? Well, I hope through this short session, you can find some quick tips to create your next deck of slides to bring them to the professional level. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to create visually effective presentation slides. Apply specific guidelines for creating effective slides. A presentation starts with an overview or introduction of the contents. Likewise, you should include an overview slide right after the title slide. Here is my title slide again. On the title slide, you include the title of the presentation, information about you and your organization. A suitable picture can be used here. And here is an example of an overview slide. The overview informs audience about the contents and sequence of coverage in your presentation. For this lesson, I've decided to use this shape to introduce my overview of the different aesthetic aspects of presentation slide design. And these are template, which refers to the range of design templates on the application you use for preparing presentations. Layout, how each page looks. Text, the font type, type size, and colors. Graphics, these will be pictures, charts, maps, photographs. How do you make this attractive and attention-catching? How about animation, the way you reveal information on the slide during your presentation? What is a good practice for animating? And lastly, transition. This refers to how you move from slide to slide or page to page. Are you ready to start looking at these factors? Let's go. First up, let's talk about template designs. There are many designs available on your application and on the internet. The key is choosing one that suits your purpose. Each design or template offers a composite of font types, a selection of color combinations, and layout. Sometimes presenters simply use a blank template and choose their own font and colors. They then lay out each page by including relevant visuals. When selecting a template design, consider these 4 principles. Professional. Does the template look professional? Depending on your industry and profession, you may be looking for something elegant, classy, or funky. Think about your audience. Be audience-centered. Yes, even in your thoughts about design. It's for their eyes and consumption. The template you choose must be professional according to their expectation, which brings me to my next point. Project the right tone. Project the tone and mood you want to create for the presentation. Do you want to excite the audience, or calm them, or impress them? The presentation is a multi-sensorial experience. So here is the visual part of the experience. Choose the template that projects the tone and mood you intend to bring to the presentation for the audience. The general rule or mantra to tell yourself when designing presentation slides is this: less is more. Yes, less is always more for the audience's eyes. Less is more comfortable on the eye. Choose a template that is not cluttered. This means choosing templates that have white space. Use the blank template by all means if you are going to have a pictorial presentation. Good aesthetic decisions start with the less is more principle. So the last point here has to do with color scheme. Yes, the application you are using provides template designs with recommended color schemes as well. But the decision is yours to make. So choose color schemes that, again, suit the mood and project the tone you want. Well, you may need to think about color coordination if you are putting graphics like photographs later. Be flexible, but keep to a color scheme that is pleasant and professional for your target audience. Remember, less is more. What do you think about the layout on this presentation so far? Does it work for you? Why and why not? Layout affects how audience reads the content on the slides. Lay out your information in a friendly way for your audience. How do you do that? The easiest way is to use a recommended layout to organize text and graphics, and here is an example. After using a recommended layout, be consistent and stick to it. Why? Because your audience is expecting it. They are watching your presentation. Make it an easy job for them. Make it easy on their eyes. Give them lots of room to breathe by having white space on the slide. White spaces between text and visuals are like rest notes in music and silence in conversations. They create impact. In professional presentations, white space demonstrates readability, clean or neat organization, and elegance. That is the impact you want. Do you know what a busy and cluttered slide does to you? Try this. Can you read and appreciate what's on this slide at a glance? It's difficult and it's not effective no matter how crucial the information is. It's not going to be clear and appealing to your audience. So remember, less is more. You have a nice layout and you are sticking to it consistently. You are confident about having enough white space. What's next? Using short bulleted points. Presentation text should not be given in long paragraphs or sentences. Remember, presentation slides complement you, the presenter. They should not be created as text meant for reading by your audience. Put up your points in bulleted form, like what you see here. Keep them left justified instead of putting them on the center of the slide. It is easier for the audience to read. Well, now, there's more to discuss about how we use text or words on presentation slides. Remember, less is more. To be effective in capturing audiences' attention and sustaining their focus, serve up information in bite-sized portions. Keep to a maximum of 5 to 6 lines per slide. Where possible, use a short 1 to 2 word term per line. Okay, a maximum of 5 words per line. The key is to keep it short, sweet, and simple. I would suggest animating one line at a time to guide the audience to look at the text immediately related to what you are saying. Your application has a variety of animating styles. Choose something simple and not distracting. In using text, remember, your audience's attention should be on you and not on your slides. These should not be reading text for them. Besides the mantra less is more, another important guideline is being audience-centered. How to be audience-centered in the way you use text. Being audience-centered is about creating slides that are easy on the eye. So use font color that contrast with the slide background. Choose font types that are easy to read. One way to describe font types is to categorize them between the ones with serif or tails and the ones without tails or sans serifs. Here are the examples. Do you see the difference? Sans serif fonts are easier on the eye. It is also visually confusing when you try to add variety by using different font types and colors. Your audience will be looking out for a reason when you do this. Is the speaker highlighting something? Is there a code here whenever she changes font type and uses another color? Next, audience should not be squinting to read your slides. Use reasonably big font sizes, minimally point size 24. The heading should be much bigger to provide a sense of hierarchy between heading and content on a slide. Also consider how appropriate your font type is for the audience and occasion. Never forget your PAC, purpose, audience, and context. Some font designs are slightly less formal than another. Look at the difference here. So much about text on slides. Are you ready to move on to think about graphics? These are anything ranging from photographs, pictures, charts, graphs, and maps. So, what do we think about when we think about graphics? Yes, here we go again. Less is more, and be audience-centered. I'm sure you use many visuals like charts, graphs, and pictures in your presentations. These visuals are there for a reason. Make sure they deserve the space and attention span they are taking up. When a picture is used on a slide, the audience's focus will be on the picture and they will try to make sense of it. There is nothing more frustrating than looking at a graphic that is not relevant. Besides relevant, allows audience to focus on one thing at a time. Have one item on each slide. Avoid crowding the slide and crowding your audience's attention, unless, of course, you are making a comparison between two items. Another frustrating thing about presentation slides has to do with the quality. Is the image clear? Is the quality good enough for the slide? Is it sharp? Is it a good size? The standard for good size here refers to a suitable size for the space you have on the slide. Never enlarge an image way bigger than its original size, and never stretch it out of proportion. And lastly, of course, the item should be named. It is your job to make the graphics meaningful for the audience. Give them a visual cue by naming it. Here is an example. Being audience-centered and friendly is all about presenting information in a way that is easy on their eye and effective for their understanding. This slide shows a simple pie chart generated by an application. It is a good size with good color contrast. You can use the feature from an application and customize the information for your presentation. After putting together an aesthetically pleasing deck of slides with appropriate templates, layout, text, and graphics, you have one more step to take to make sure that the entire presentation is fluid and professional. That is to look into how your slides move from page to page or slide to slide, and how the text appear. Earlier on, we talked about revealing or animating your text line by line or point by point. Well, even in doing that, you have choices to make. So, what goes into deciding how to animate your text? Less is always more. A neat and minimalistic approach to animating and transiting is an elegant one too. The last thing you want to do is to distract your audience when you animate the points on your slide. There is no need to use varied animation styles because, again, audience will be looking for a reason when you do that. Do not mislead them by giving them a cue when there is nothing to that cue. Yes, the last thing you want to do is to make your audience dizzy with the range and dramatic movements of the animating. Wow them with your ideas, not the frills of animation. How about transitions? Yes, the same applies. And so, here are 4 thoughts for you to take away when choosing transition styles. Be elegant. Yes, it's possible to be elegant with slide page transitions. I'm going to transit this simple page a few ways, and you decide which of these are elegant, pleasant, fluid, and non-distracting. Ready? Let's go. We have looked at all these elements of presentation slides design today. What are some guidelines you recall? Remember, always be audience-centered. And the mantra, less is more. Create visuals that are easy on the eye. Be professional by being elegant. Set the right tone and mood with your visual input. I hope you have found the guidelines and tips shared here helpful for your next presentation. I am Susan Lee. Thank you for joining me today. See you in the next lesson.